Marcus Ely here for Status Coup. I am here with Darla Garcia. Last week we were at the rally, the Fight for 15 rally that Kamala Harris showed up to. And she showed up to that rally and there was a lot of hoopla. But this young woman stole the show because at a Fight for 15 rally where McDonald's workers were striking, you shut down a Wendy's and showed up in solidarity with them. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about why you shut the Wendy's down and what you guys were striking for?
Well, at my Wendy's, we get paid $8.25 an hour, which is the state minimum wage, and it's also the maximum wage there. They don't give raises to their employees after years and years. Doesn't matter, you still make $8.25, and the working conditions are below substandard. So that's why we decided to join the McDonald's workers in the strike and support them, and they support us, and we did shut down the store.
Okay. Now, I remember you telling me in the first interview we did before we had to reshoot this that you guys were working without AC for 2 summers?
Yeah, last summer, the air conditioning was broken, and then the beginning of this summer, about 2 days before the strike, the Wednesday before the strike, they came in and fixed it. But before that, it was 103 degrees when they took the little temperature thing. And the summer before that was even hotter.
Yeah, last summer was ridiculously hot. So do you remember, like, some of the temperatures you had to work in while you were there?
We never, checked the temperature. He didn't have his little gun thing that checked the temperature. But I know my coworkers would have wet towels. They would put ice in towels and put it around their necks because it was so hot in the kitchen that it was unbearable.
For $8.25 an hour.
$8.25 an hour.
Yeah. That's just ridiculous. Nobody should have to deal with that. Can you talk a little bit about because you're working $8.25 an hour, you go to Wendy's, and then you come home and you got to support a family. Right. Can you talk a little bit about like what the struggle of that is like, for folks that don't understand?
Yeah, every day is a challenge. It's a struggle to put food on the table. It's a struggle to pay for car insurance, to pay bills, rent. You have to decide between food and utilities sometimes, and that's tough when you have children because you can't give them everything that you want to be able to give them as a parent. And I don't feel like working 40 hours a week and over 40 hours a week that you should have to make a decision between your rent, your utilities, and your food, and taking care of your child.
The kitty
yeah,
is scratching the Bernie sign right when I was getting ready to mention, because Kamala Harris was at the Fight for 15 rally. As a Bernie supporter, clearly. And you volunteer with Our Revolution. That's how we'll talk about that in a second as well. But yeah, as a Bernie supporter and somebody that kind of pays attention to where the money comes from, how do you feel about Kamala Harris showing up to the Fight for 15 strike like a week after she was at Wall Street, asking the people that literally cause folks to be stuck at minimum wage with their lobbying and with
their money.
Yeah.
Right.
And they cause folks to be stuck in the wages you're fighting against. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about her showing up to that fight?
I felt 100% like it was just a photo opportunity, a publicity stunt to get her name out there and look like she stands with the workers. Mm-hmm. I marched with her on Friday at the rally, and it just felt like her heart wasn't in it. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and there's her history with Wall Street and all the big corporations and the lobbyists, and she's just trying to win the election, so that's why she stood with us. But Bernie Sanders has been standing with us forever, and it's not just a photo op for him. It's what he does.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So I just I can't get past 103 degrees and working for 8. I cannot imagine dealing with that. Have you can you talk about like what the struggle's like dealing with management? Because I remember when we first talked about this, you said the issue wasn't your store manager, the issue wasn't your district manager, it was the corporate offices that you were dealing with that was the impediment to this problem. Can you talk a little bit about the struggle to get this dealt with?
Well, yeah, it's the upper management, starting with the district manager in my store. The general manager, our store manager, is always on our side, but there's not much he can do. They put restrictions on him, and he can't give us raises, and he can't change the working conditions because that all the money comes from his bosses, the corporation, We Nevada LLC, and they just, it's staggering how ineffective their HR department is. You contact them, they don't get back to you. They just don't care. They do not care. I sent a petition around in January, and I had all the employees sign it. Everybody, including my general manager, signed it. And he brought down someone from the HR department to come speak with us in the store. I presented her to the petition that took a couple weeks to get together because it was morning, noon, and night crew. That took a lot of work. She just, grabbed it, looked at it. Oh, I'll give it to my boss. Never heard back from her. I called. All of a sudden, she's on vacation. HR.
Would this be what is your district manager's name? Because I believe I tried to reach out with her. What was her name?
George is the district manager,
okay.
and then Gina is also another.
Gina is the person I tried to contact.
Yes. Gina. Yeah, they're just uninterested in helping their employees. They're not. Although now there's an investigation into the store because of others. Because of the strike, they're retaliating for sure. They're about to try anyway, but yeah, she has no interest in backing up her employees at all. She's just there to make money for her corporation.
Yeah. It's just so on the one hand, we have folks working in Las Vegas in a record hot summer last year, and then this summer you guys finally got AC like a week ago.
And it was literally only because I started making noise about it, with everything else.
Yeah. So on the one hand, we have that. And then on the other hand, we have the CEO of Wendys making $5 million last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this person's working in a cushy office, air conditioned, everything, and got all types of vacation time. They could probably be done and not show up to work for a year, and Wendys would be fantastic, would be fine, record profits. Y'all didn't show up at that place for one day. That store made $0. How do you feel about, when you think about it that way and you put that kind of lens on it, how do you feel about this person making $5 million versus you and your colleagues being stuck at $825 with zero chance of a raise at all?
It's disgusting. It's very disheartening, but it also makes me very angry, and anger drives passion, and passion provokes change. So that's what caused the strike, is because my coworkers and I are getting mad. We're getting angry at the situation, and knowing that store, my store, generates $30,000 minimum profit a week. It's a very busy store, and we work to keep that store open, and they will not have our backs for anything. So yeah, if we walk out, it shuts down, and I'm hoping that we can do that again to prove our point again and again and again until they listen.
Yeah. So that's 50, 30, that's, I want to say $300,000 a year your store makes. I'm doing that math in my head, so I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. It might be more than that. It might be $3 million a year, but it's 300,000 is what I think it is.
My coworker Derek and I, we calculated it out, and they make approximately $1.2 million at that store alone. Just that store.
Just y'all store. Just that. $1.2 million. And how many people work in that store?
There's 25.
25, and y'all are making much less, much less. And Wendys honestly could, with that money, Wendys could easily pay y'all a livable wage and still make their profits.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, at the starvation wages, they're profiting massively, and the prices have still been going up. In the 14 months I've worked there, things have gone up about 50 to 60 cents. And that's without raises. That's without putting any money back into the store. That's without new equipment, without a remodel. Our store is one of the originals. You know, we have nothing that's been upgraded or remodeled or renovated. So they're just making profit and raising prices for no reason. So everybody's argument, oh, if people get $15 an hour, inflation has already been a constant presence in our lives, and our wages have just stayed exactly the same.
I don't know about you, but I am very much understanding why people are out here saying "eat the rich." Like, I completely, when you hear stories like yours, and you hear the stories I've heard out here on the road covering different things, talking to not only Bernie supporters but just people in general that are struggling. You know, the average person can't afford a $400 emergency.
Right.
You know what I mean? $400 hits a family, and it's a wrap. It's going to take you at least a year to recover from that in a lot of cases, because you gotta move everything back and pay this and pay that and rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
so like it makes you completely understand why things end up the way that they do and why folks are out here fighting for Bernie Sanders. Like me and another one of the McDonald's employees told y'all in the last video, y'all better take Bernie Sanders, because I'm telling you right now, what's coming after Trump on that side is the super devil, because he already the devil.
Yeah.
And then what's coming after Bernie on the left is not pretty. Like, people will what was a great comment, I'm thinking about it, on the last video, said if you want to get rich quick, invest in Pitchfork futures. Like, that's really what it is.
Yeah,
Invest in
sense.
Pitchfork futures, because it's not going to be pretty what's going to happen in the future if folks don't get a livable wage, because they ain't gonna have nothing else to eat but you rich people.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, you can't oppress us forever. It's coming. The time is coming. We outnumber them by so much. Yeah. And people work hard, really hard, for so little. Yeah. People are getting really tired of it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in this, not only this election, but in the future, because it's not just the presidential election that matters. It's the smaller elections, the municipal elections, local, state level, and not only that, like activists on the ground fighting for X, Y, and Z issue in their local area. Every one of those little battles matters, and those in power are dependent on folks being inactive and not caring and not doing anything. But when you do folks like this, brace for impact.
Yeah. And it makes a big impact. I can tell you that strike made a huge impact on this store. So, and we're still seeing the ripple effect of it right now. But yeah, I would definitely recommend anyone upset with their wages, say something, start a petition, start there, and get in touch with any type of local union organization that will help you, like the SEIU here, the 5 for 15. Organize and do something.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly where I was getting ready to go next. Because I talked, your story is really interesting, because like a month ago you were just, or like a month and a half, 2 months ago, you were just a upset worker and happened to volunteer for Our Revolution and ask the people, hey, what do I do if I want to get some information? And then here you are a month and a half, 2 months later, you shutting the restaurant down. So can you talk a little bit about that process, going from, I'm upset, I want things to do, but I'm in a right to work state, they can fire me for anything, what do I do? To, yeah, we're shutting this down, bye.
Yeah. Just persistence. And I mean, I'm lucky because I do volunteer for the Bernie campaign and for any of his organizations, like Our Revolution Nevada. So I met some really awesome people through those organizations that were able to connect me with who I needed to be connected with. Like, it was Jake from Our Revolution that put me in touch with Brian, who then put with SEIU, who then put me in touch with Maite from the Fight for 15, and it just progressed that way. And I was actually Crystal who put me in touch with Jake, who put me in touch with Brian, who put me in touch with Maite, and it was a long process because after the petition, I didn't know where to go. I knew I wanted to strike. That's all I knew I wanted to do, but I knew I needed help because if we had just walked out on our own without the backing of a big organization or a union, then they would have just fired everybody. Yeah. And even though I really don't think they could, because our store is hurting for employees. Nobody wants to work there. It's the lowest paying fast food job in the industry. Everywhere McDonald's starts off at 9, Del Taco 10, Taco Bell 9.25, Jack in the Box 9, Subway, I'm not sure. I think Subway might be minimum, but yeah, it's definitely one of the lowest. So nobody wants to work there. Nobody. We are getting no applications. The ones that we do leave like that as soon as something better comes along. So I don't even feel like if we had just striked on our own that they could have fired all of us. But who knows? They definitely would have tried. There would have been retaliation. Having the backing of an organization and a union that's there to help is immensely beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, you're blessed to know the people that you know, yes, because
very much so.
We all we got, really. That's something that's a statement Black people say, but it works directly towards the lower classes as well. We all we got, and they got money and we got people, as AOC put it. Exactly. So
yes, we got the numbers. They got the cash, but we got the numbers. And in the end, I feel like human to human communication and working together is more, there's no monetary value you can put on that. Yeah. So as long as we're together and stand together and fight together, we're going to win. It's only a matter of time.
That is where we're cutting it. That is the line. Nobody is saying anything better than that. Subscribe, smash that like button. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Your struggle and your story is important. You aren't alone. There are people all over watching this that are going through the same thing, and some that are energized. I remember when I interviewed folks from the teacher strike last year, they told me the thing that gave them the most courage was the folks in West Virginia. And when they did, then everybody else was just like inspired to go. So know that like you doing this and your store doing this is inspiring other stores, other fast food workers, because y'all are the most important ones. Like I appreciate teacher strikes and whatnot, but they're not to say anything negative about teachers striking, because they need to strike and they need to get paid more, but they're not hit as hard as you guys are. You guys are minimum wage workers, yeah. And in your case, working with nothing. Y'all are working in 100 million degrees with ice packs on your neck. Oh, my goodness. All right, guys, smash the like button, subscribe, become a member to Status Quo. I can't get stories like this out unless you guys support us. So we really appreciate your support. Thank you. Have a good one. I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Out front tonight, chaos at the White House. President Trump's deputy chief of staff, his communications director, is
just because of their connection to President Trump. And I know you've been saying...
We learned recently that Donald Trump threatened to sue his former schools if...
Tired of hearing about Trump 24/7? Become a member at statusquo.com for only $10 a month. Click the notification. With your help, we can start the media revolution.
And before Bernie went on stage, I spoke with his supporters online here, and you really get that feeling from